And a very good afternoon to you from here in Mexico City, just to the south of the city, in a neighborhood called Coyoacan, and a place that I've been very happy to refer to as my home for approaching 3.5 years now. And it's a great place to be. But when I went to bed last night, I wasn't sure that I felt so happy about my situation, because I'm in a little bit of turmoil, and of course you and I have always been subject to turmoil in our lives. And what I wanted to talk about today, and this occurred to me in the very early hours of this morning when I woke up because I couldn't sleep, is the whole process of having too much distraction and not getting enough done of the things that you and I consider are important to us and to our values or our goals. And so I just wanted to talk on that a little bit. When I got back from England and Miami to Mexico a few weeks ago, I had this epiphany on the plane, and a whole story came to me in a way that has never happened before. Because I'm mainly a writer of non-fiction and how-to books and themes and topics and articles around how-to subjects. But this is a fiction story that, as I was coming into land, or basically I'd slept most of the flight because I'd been exhausted. There'd been a cancellation of one of our originally intended flights from England to Mexico. Normally we go England, continental Europe, Mexico. But on this occasion we had been booked on a flight via the States, and it was cancelled. So I had to fly Manchester to Paris with my wife. Then she had a different flight to Mexico, and I had a flight via Miami in the United States. And then my third flight of the day was Miami to Mexico City. And I'd slept most of that third flight out of sheer exhaustion, really. But I had an epiphany coming into land at Mexico City, because Mexico City is a vast place, 21, 22 million people, according to which data you look at and which year of survey you choose to cast your eyes upon. But when you come into Mexico City at night, it is the most incredible place. Everything starts off as an orange glow below the horizon as the flight will come in over one of the mountain ranges that surround the city. And then those orange lights become yellows and whites and some red lights. And as you are able to discern the makeup of streets first, and that separates the lines come out of the orange globe of light that is the Valley of Mexico. And then you start to see the buildings and the skyscrapers and the smaller neighborhoods with sports centers that are lit up, or you see illuminated swimming pools in the gardens of some of the neighborhoods. But the whole city is lit up like some amazing nighttime winter festival in England. And you come into land, but as I came into land, having been really sleepy, I was wide awake all of a sudden because I was coming home to my Mexico, and this story just burst out in my mind that I've had to write fairly regularly ever since I got home. And I wanted to talk about this whole idea that we distract ourselves with too much phone time. I can't hold up my phone, of course, because that's all I have to record my YouTube channel. I have a Samsung S8, which is about 100 years old. But we are scrollers, or we find our iPad and we get distracted. Or for some of us, it's television and Netflix or some kind of streaming service where we think, oh, I'll just watch one more episode of this 6-series design or story, which has 10 episodes per series. So you end up working your way through 60 different episodes according to what your distraction drug is, what your distraction of choice almost. And I've been writing on a regular basis, and I've been writing this month always by hand. The story started off, and I picked up a notebook to capture some ideas, and I haven't been able to stop. So I've filled this moleskin notebook. By the way, this is, it's got a reference to Davis Polk. I didn't know that Davis Polk is a legal firm in England. if any of you know anybody at Davis Polk, and you could get hold of some of these moleskins for yourselves and spare me a couple of copies, I'd be really grateful, because they are brilliant for writing in. They're very, very slim. They're not hardback, they're a soft-bound book, so they're easy to work with. And I've got, what did I get out of this one? I got 41 single pages out of this, so that means it's an 80-something leaf book. And it's been great to write in. The quality of the paper, I think, is what makes all the difference, because I've been able to use it with fountain pens, and I've been trialing different fountain pens over the course of the couple of weeks that I've been writing in this particular journal. Let's show you which ones I've been using, and then I'll get back to the theme of this particular idea. So I've got this very fine point Faber-Castell, which so far has been one of the winners. I don't know what this Parker pen is. If some of you are able to identify it for me, that would be really kind. I picked it up. Where did I buy this one? I bought this in Nottingham a few weeks ago when I was in England, and I think I spent £20 on it in a little stall that sells second-hand pens. This one has got a Parker motif on the barrel cap that I'd never seen before. Certainly not the kind of motif I had when I had Parker pens as a kid. I've been using this Schaefer, which I got from a pawnbroker's in Mexico City sometime last spring, and which is a beautiful, easy ink flow to it. I've got this Kaweco Perkeo, which is called, that I picked up. I bought a couple of these in Belgium last month when I was there, and again it's got that beautiful Kaweco medallion almost on the top of the barrel cap. I've been using a very cheap, I think it was £8 or £9 a couple of years ago, Bauer 388 from the Yinhao Bauer range on, I think it's on eBay and it's on Amazon. And it's a complete knockoff or replica of the kind of Parker pens, Parker 45 probably, or Parker 51 in fact, that we used to have as teenagers at school. And then last night I was writing with this one, which is the Mont Blanc Noblesse from the 1980s, I think, which comes with that beautiful Mont Blanc snow-capped mountain peak logo that they have. But it has it not just on the barrel cap, but on the top of the barrel, but also on the base of the barrel. If I can get that in focus, I'm not sure. Yes, there it is. So I've been using a range of different fountain pens. Just looking at these, I've used a couple of different, well, many different types, but I've also been using, and I'll take it out of its little case here. I got this locally. There's a lot of good leather work that's produced in Mexico, and this one I got from a leather, where did I get this from? Yeah, I got it from a little leather workshop in Coyoacán near the Conchita Church. And sometimes I will keep this platinum plaisir in there, but the last couple of days I've been out and about and I've kept those two in that leather pouch, and it's been really beautiful to write with, and I'm really enjoying it. But if we have too much distraction, we make no progress. And I'm the world's worst at this. I will set myself a goal and then I'll miss a day. And then perhaps I'll miss another day, and I'll come back to the task in hand, I'll come back to the project, and I will feel such a sense of relief that I'm not so much back on track, but I'm back in that creative mode. I'm back in the process of pens and paper and capturing words. And for some reason, this particular project with the fiction story based in Mexico City has captured my imagination in a very strong way. If I just open this Davis Polk book, these are the word counts I've been achieving each time that I've written, and it looks like I've written 11 times so far this month, and we're only on the 20th, so there's hope for me yet. Not to finish the project, which I've set out as a 40,000 word book, but to make very strong progress on it. So far, looking at that word count, I'm just under 13,000 words. But what I've enjoyed doing is writing against each daily word count. So I've got a date. I've written I've written down here where I've been working on the manuscript and adding to the story. So I've got some sessions at home, others in local coffee shops. But I've also been writing down the pens that I've used as I've been working on that book. So if I just look at it, I've written, let's have a think. I've written 4 times with the Plaisir Platinum, and I've been working on different paper qualities, not just this one, but another book I will show you here, a spiral bound, what's this, spiral bound, slightly A4 or American letter format, which is slightly bigger than European A4, but the paper quality on this is terrible. It's 56 gram paper, and so several of the pens bleed through the pages. But I've been writing with the Platinum. I've done 2 days with the Cueco Perkeo. I had a very good 2 days writing with this Parker. Again, I wish I knew what it was called or what the style is. It's a very industrial sort of design. If I look at the nib here, it's quite brutal. It's very strong. It's one piece of steel that sits into the piece that holds that actual nib. But then it's got a nice taper to it and a very strong, almost bulbous end above the arrow that is the pocket clip. And again, there's that Parker logo that I've not been used to previously. There it is, beautiful. So I've written with that one on a couple of occasions. Twice I've written with that new Cueco Perkeo that I got in Namur in Belgium. I like the colorways as much as anything else, apart from the reference to some of the colors that Tintin wears in the comic books that I've got of his. But it's a beautiful lightweight pen. Of all the pens I've been using, the 2 lightest are the Cueco and the Faber-Castell. The Faber-Castell is a brilliant pen, and I haven't written at all with it here. I've been using it in my journal. I've been using it to keep up to date with some of my goal setting and my tracking of dividends and some of the stocks and the rental income, but I haven't yet used that in the Moleskine book, or it will change today because I'm going to a coffee shop straight after this. But in this, what's it called? Paper Cool. No, it's called Papper Cool, Papper Cool. Very much a school kids book, produced in Mexico by a shop network called Chedraui. But yeah, this is really thin paper. In fact, it's not 56 gram, it's 50 gram, 90 pages of lined paper. And you can see I was writing on that last night. This thing about distractions, we went away at the weekend and I didn't write. I didn't write on the Saturday that we travelled or the Sunday. But I managed to write on Tuesday. Monday was a failure. I do this all the time. I set myself a goal and I think I'm going to accomplish it in a particular time frame, but that time frame tends to get a little bit stretched and then a little bit further and a little bit further. Do you remember I wrote that book in June and July called Spare Room Landlord? The book's finished. I still haven't published it and uploaded it to Amazon. So I must do that. Please hold me accountable in the month of August. And then I can say that although it's taken 76 hours of time logged in my journal, it's effectively taken me 3 months, or it will have taken me 3 months to publish that book and get it selling. So I get very easily distracted, whether it's watching Harry Bosch on Amazon Prime in the Bosch or the Bosch Legacy series, or whether it's losing myself in hardback Tintin albums in English or French from the 1970s and 1980s, or whether I've picked up on something on our joint Kindle. My wife and I share a Kindle between us. She tends to read in the evening after work and I will read sometimes in the morning after breakfast. And that way we manage to have this digital child that is shared between us fairly equally. And I'm going to produce a video about how I use my Kindle, because I do find that a brilliant tool for reading, and I read faster with a Kindle. I don't know why, but I will finish a book several days faster, or I'll have less reading sessions, but I'm obviously working through the book much faster when I'm using the Kindle than when I pick up a physical book like that Peter the Latvian book that I read on the plane the other day. So I get distracted, and last night I was really frustrated with myself because I had this gap in my diary that showed I hadn't written any word count, because I always put the word count in my diary every evening. And I had the Friday and the Saturday that we were away, the Saturday and the Sunday that we were away, and I had a gaping hole in the diary for Monday and I hadn't written. So last night I went to bed and I had a stress headache, I think, or a little migraine, and as much as anything, that was me knowing that I hadn't written. I'd had a day in which I'd been busy promoting those books that I gave away this week, and thank you for downloading those. Almost 400 books were downloaded in that day, Tuesday, and I'm starting to see the read-through on the when you publish a book on Amazon, Amazon shows you almost by the hour the book sales, but also the read-through on the pages. And so it's nice to see people have not just downloaded the books, but they are working their way through the books, and every now and again the Kindle page count is updated on the bar graph on my laptop. And that's quite amazing to see, because it means there is a connection between what you've downloaded and what you are reading. And that's been very special. And we're back, almost as if by magic. I started recording yesterday with the idea that this video for you and for me to explain myself is about pushing through the distractions and making forward progress with your writing activity. And I talked about the fact that I'm writing at the moment using fountain pens on traditional paper, and this being a cheap school notebook. I got to 17 or 18 minutes on the video and I noticed I was no longer recording. I'd filled up the very limited memory on this phone, and I then had to spend an hour or so deleting images from my gallery, but also the duplicate that automatically gets stored in Google Photos. And that took me the rest of the day, along with other distractions. So I didn't get to finish my recording. And I thought, what better to do than set up the camera in pretty much the same place. Now I'm recording mid-morning here in Mexico, so you can see a lot more brightness out from the patio at the front of the house. But we're on track, and I wanted to do for myself mentally to push through the distractions that I had yesterday in getting this video ready. Nothing will get in the way of your writing, really, except you and I. The cavalry are not coming across the horizon to rescue you and to say, here is your finished manuscript, take it, print it, publish it, and have 1,000 copies in your inbox in terms of revenue and royalties this month. Life's not like that. I'm sorry to break it to you, but it requires consistency, effort, discipline, saying no to social invitations, not watching some of the Netflix series that you've got a hankering for, and having to push through different things. This morning I was using some of my little Leica notebooks to make notes of some stocks I wanted to buy, and which I've gone ahead and bought this morning to add to our portfolio. But last night I wrote down 20 or 25, I think, different European stocks that I was interested in, and then analysed them here based on their dividend performance. So here, for example, some UK and European stocks, and made some decisions and some purchases this morning based on that. But that's a distraction. That's not my writing. My writing I have commented on in several recent videos, certainly since May of this year. I'm getting more productive by leaving the house. So staying at home, my word count isn't what it normally is, But there's a reason for that. I've got a MacBook, I've got a telephone, and I've got an iPad. And invariably, there's at least one of those items on most of the time. They're not all on all day long, but I don't take them when I go to the coffee shop. Having your own dedication to your commitment to producing a book, and this is largely what the channel is about, writing books and the writing life. Having that dedication and that commitment to seeing your project through from notes and scraps of paper and rough ideas. In fact, just showing you that, you can see the bleed through on the page from using a fountain pen. Being distracted is easy. Look, I've just done it. I've shown you the ink bleed on a pad of paper. Yes, you have a time frame, but you need to take your project through to completion. Let me share an example with you. A writer you can subscribe to and follow half a dozen different YouTube channels, and you'll see half a dozen different approaches. Here are 4 books I picked up from the office upstairs that I wanted just to share in the continuation of this video theme about pushing through distraction. I've taken 4 books with different aspects to them. 2 of them are very technical and theoretical. The other 2 are very much more right brain and listening to your heart as you write. So here is the ultimate ADHD left brain book by Steven Pinker. It's called The Sense of Style. And if I look at what it says here, what is the secret of good prose? Does it matter in an age of digital media? In this witty, mind-expanding book about the art and science of writing well, Steven Pinker shows that good style isn't just about rules, it's about empathy, coherence, and adding beauty to the world. Very true, it's a very good book, but it has rules and regulations and suggested approaches. This one also very prescriptive in its approach. Save the Cat writes a novel by Jessica Brody. It's a really good book. If you haven't got this one, I would very much recommend it. You can go through just the samples that she shares, where she breaks down films or famous books and looks at the beats or the structure of those stories that we're all so familiar with as a result of the film industry. Or she'll look at books that have great accolades and sell in the millions, and she'll identify the beats and the structure and the plots of those books. It's a great book and it really helps. But my brain doesn't always work that way, and so I'm struggling sometimes to pick up a book like this, and I will mark it and go through it, he says. So I've been marking different pages and putting drawings on them, writing in the margins of this book when I went through it last year, and those are all very good, but they are a distraction. At the core of your focus and ability as a writer is your desire to finish the project. I'm sure you can hear what's happening right now. There's a helicopter going overhead, and true to form, that helicopter has just gone overhead, and it's the Secretary of State for the Navy coming to the office in the base very close to our house. In fact, look, you can see the rotor wash pushing the leaves in the living room, but it goes over at about 50 meters above the house as it comes into land every morning, and then in the afternoon at 4 o'clock it'll take him back to his protected housing accommodation somewhere else in the city. That's another distraction. I thought about stopping the video, and then I thought, no, I want to finish this video today and get it out to you so you can actually focus on your writing. Here are 2 very different books. This one by Tom Bird is The Call of the Writer's Craft. Very much a follower of the kind of creative environment and the creative energy of the Sedona movement in the States. He says, use your heart and your head to write a successful book. With best-selling author and writing guru Tom Bird as your guide, you'll connect with your divine author within, and using this inner muse, will master both the craft and the business of writing. First, you'll tap into your creative, connected mind. I'll show it again there. First, you'll tap into your creative, connected mind and banish your logical, critical mind, allowing you to write the book you've always wanted in only 2 drafts in as little as 30 days. That's a wild claim, but actually it's very good. I have used what he wrote in this book several years ago to write the fastest book which I ever wrote, which was 10-minute budget, which was created perhaps 6 months after reading through this book and becoming more familiar with what my writing style is and my approach to the author life. I then, having made some notes, wrote 10-minute budget in one of the November NaNoWriMo writing challenges, and so I rate that book very highly. The other one I think is very superb for getting you through the, oh, I'm not good enough, I can't write, I cannot find the time to write, all the doubts and the self-criticism that we face as, not just as writers, but as creative people sometimes. We could be designers, poets, carpenters, sculptors, working with physical material, turning something which is a lump of clay into a beautiful vase or a pot or a dish, for example. This is a book for the creative process. It's called An Editor's Advice to Writers, and if you want to learn more about it, I did a book review here on the channel, so if you look either on my playlists where there are several books I've reviewed, and this is one of them, a very important book, or you can find me on an individual video just talking purely about this book on its own. So, An Editor's Advice to Writers, with the subtitle of The Forest for the Trees, i.e. we get stuck. We cannot see the forest for the trees. The trees are all around us. The trees are the multimedia, the social media, the pinging on your phone if you have notifications on. Why would you do that? The distractions of, for example, my weakness, the distractions of, for example, my weakness. Who on earth thinks, oh, I will try and write a book in a paper journal and I'll try all my different fountain pens, well, not all of them, a small selection of my fountain pens. This is hoarding behavior. You sit on the tube or the bus next to somebody commuting to work, they're not going to have 3 fountain pens in their jacket pocket. They probably won't even have a pencil case. Can you believe that? There are people in the world who don't have pencil cases. Incredible. But those 2 books are the books which have really helped me just get on with letting my pen move on paper and let the book be written and created. Because until you've got a finished manuscript, you can't edit it. I'm very much of the view that I won't try and edit what I'm writing, because until it's finished, I don't know what I've got, whether it's on a laptop or whether it's the physical version of a story that I'm creating here with ink on paper, so that I can think through the ink and let the story find itself. So remember, this is your writing project. You need to be committed to it. You need to think of ways that you can cut out the distraction and keep going. In a way, this video has been very self-prophetic, because I filled up my camera yesterday. I had to discard hundreds of images and dozens of videos that were blocking and clogging up the data usage on the phone. I don't understand any of the technical things other than, oh, there's not enough space left in my storage. We have to move through the distractions in much the way that I wanted to keep talking when the helicopter flew over a few minutes ago. Distractions will always be here for you and I as the creators that we are and that we are driven naturally to be. I had that migraine, that headache the other night because I hadn't written for 3 days, but my brain was saying to me, Nick, just get up and write, add some words to the story. I did that for an hour and a half. I went back to bed at 4:30 and I had effectively put myself back on track by committing to this urge, this strong impulse which runs through us as creative people that we cannot ignore, should not ignore, and must not ignore. The world will tell you to do it this way or that way, or over here, this is the best way forward, or try this method here. You have to do this thing. You have to stay up late one night, or get up early in the morning, or go to a coffee shop, or get yourself into the library to do the work that is so important to you and which gives you that incredible sense of, I'm on track, I'm okay, I'm doing what matters to me, and phooey to the rest of the world. Don't let distraction take you away from your dreams. So don't let interruptions like helicopters or gas trucks in the street or dogs barking stop you from being focused. Don't allow the pinging of your phone because somebody in your social network has put up a funny story. Don't let that stop you from writing the proper story, the actual written story that you want to share with the world, because we all want your story on our Kindles. I've mentioned this before in another video. When people are buying your book or downloading it for free and then giving you paid rewards from a platform that publishes your story, you are getting the benefit of that. When I go out to drink coffee today in my local coffee shop, that coffee is paid for by a royalty from a few days ago. At the end of the day, there is nothing more to saying, I wrote today, I used pen and paper, or I used my laptop, I used my keyboard, but I added words to my project. I pushed my project forward. On a couple of videos, I've referenced that brilliant phrase by my friend Tish Bouvier in Texas in the States. And she said her job as a writer is to push words forward every day. When I do that, I am at my most content as a creative person. So here's the message. Push through the distraction. Finish your current work in progress. Remember that the world will say there is a prescribed route forward. I say, find your own way through the distraction. I say, find your own way through whatever project you have that is keeping you awake at night because you haven't moved it forward. Take just half an hour today, track some time, add words to paper, and finish your writing project. Find your way forward, push through the distractions, push them out of your life, limit the impact of what is stopping you from writing, and gain back more of that time and that opportunity that is yours to enjoy, so that you get the results of being happy with your writing and happy and fulfilled with your creative activity. Happy writing.